of grammar. So, to this point, we have learned a lot of stuff in just the first month and a half of school. We have looked at our parts of speech. We have looked at the rules for writing a complete sentence. We've also looked at things called homonyms and homophones. So, we have really taken time to really jump into to important rules of grammar because we'll be using those next week to do something that we haven't even tried yet this year. But before we can do that, we need to focus on the very last thing that we need to be practicing this week, which are contractions. Most of us use contractions very often when we talk, and we probably use them somewhat pretty often when we write. However, we may not use them correctly, so we don't necessarily know um, if we are using those correctly. So contractions are uh, a, a rule in grammar where we have two words and we want to turn them into one. In order to do that, we leave our first word alone and then we change a letter or two, or we don't change, we get rid of a letter or two in that second word and we replace it with the apostrophe. The apostrophe looks like a teeny tiny little teardrop and it goes at the top of where that letter would be. So, for example, if I uh, had the word he is, two words. My first word is he, I leave it alone. The next word is. Now I want to make he is a contraction. So to do that, I look at the is word and I have to get rid of something. Well, generally, usually, what you get rid of is the vowel, the first vowel. So in this case, since I is a vowel, you would get rid of it and replace it with that apostrophe, that little teardrop that goes at the top. So it would say he's. So we're going to learn more about that. And most of us already know it. It's just a matter of we may not have known it had an actual name. We're also going to learn not only how to find them, but how to make them on our own. So once you're done with that on Thursday, and Friday, we will be reviewing every single thing that I started this video off with, talking about homonyms and homophones, looking for the different parts of speech, the noun, person, place, or thing, the verb, an action word, an adjective, which is a describing word, and then an adverb, which is also a describing word, but it specifically describes your verb, describes your action. And then from there, we will write our contractions. We will look at homonyms, homophones. You will do the majority of that on your own because next week, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we will be getting into something new. We are going to be working on writing. Yes. I know it's not our favorite thing to do. I know it is difficult, but we are not going to be writing big, long papers. We are working on writing very clear and correct sentences. All sentences need to have certain parts of speech. That's why we learn parts of speech. A lot of the words we use are homonyms and homophones, so we need to make sure that we're using them correctly in sentences. Also, contractions will be used very often when you write. These are all the things we've been practicing so that we could get to this point, so we could write a very clear and correct sentence. So please put the time in this week on your contractions. Make sure you understand them and you are able to pull them apart and create them and write them correctly. From there, we will practice everything else just to make sure that come next Monday, we are ready to pick up that pencil, use that keyboard to start our writing process.